Just with regard to the question why we're holding this media conference, you will know that at the end of last week, the South African Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Minister Lindiwe Sisulu, sent out a statement in response to what is happening in Australia at the moment, where farm murders and expropriation without compensation is receiving quite a lot of attention there in the media. But what we saw was Minister Sisulu blaming AfriForum for what she called spreading incorrect information, sowing fear, and she said there's no threat in the country. AfriForum's business is not to spread incorrect information. We're in the business of sticking to the facts, and we thought it would be appropriate today to say specifically what are the facts that we refer to, what is the threat, because we can't have simply a sweeping statement by the minister saying we are spreading incorrect facts without mentioning what facts are incorrect. So the facts we're putting on the table today, you are most welcome to scrutinize. Those are facts that we believe is a reality, and the minister should answer to these facts that we put on the table rather than coming with sweeping statements to say it is not the truth. So that is what we are going to do, to give you the facts, but also Alana will at the end tell you how we are going to intensify our international campaign. This is only the start. We believe it's important, especially when you're going to have a situation where the constitution is changed. It will lead to a situation where your local remedies are exhausted, and our only recourse would be to make sure that international investors and governments put pressure on the South African government. Let me start off by on the issue of expropriation without compensation. You have many people saying, no, we believe President Cyril Ramaphosa is a reasonable man. I'm not saying he's not a reasonable man, but we cannot try to protect the ANC's policies by saying they'll never do it. I think what we should learn is to read the ruling party's policies, to look at what they are doing, and then to judge on that, and not simply by the words that are used to try and calm people. Because if you look at the facts, it's very serious issues that we are dealing with at the moment that cannot simply be talked away by using nice words and trying to calm people while the facts say that we have a serious problem. If you go and look what the situation is at the moment, in December this year, the ruling party, the ANC, held their National Congress. On that Congress, they decide what their policy should be. And on that policy, there was a decision taken that expropriation without compensation is now ANC policy, and that the Constitution should be changed to make that possible. That is the policy. It's not a lie that we are spreading. That is something that was said by the ANC, and it is there for the public to see that those are the facts at the moment. What does President Cyril Ramaphosa say? We have a small insert, what he said when he visited King Goodwill Zwelithini of the Zulus at the beginning of the year. We'll just have a short look at what he said.
This conference decided that we are now going to return the land to our people. We are going to expropriate land without compensation.
I think it's clear. Even a person such as myself, whose English is not that fluent, can understand exactly what was said by the president. He said it's their policy, and that is what they are going to do. So for commentators to say, no, they'll never do it, they are actually saying the president is lying in this insert. The second problem that we have, he said he's going to return the land to our people. Meaning he refers to black people in that sense. And the question remains, it's also a question that was asked by a member of parliament of Cope, Mosiuoa Lakota, when he's asked the president, who is our people? Does it mean we're sitting on the panel, AfriForum members of minority communities, are they not also our people? And that is exactly the threat that we see in the country. It has become a very easy target to make minorities the scapegoat. And you can even have a president saying, our people, referring to people that excludes minorities. Then we can also look at a statement that was made by a minister in the Ramaphosa cabinet, Gugile Nkwinti. He was the former Minister of Land Reform, now with Water and Sanitation. And I'll quote him directly. He said, there is no doubt about it. Land will be expropriated without compensation. So to say we are spreading fear or panic, I think there's enough to be worried about if a minister says there's no doubt about it. And that we should know, and that Minister Sisulu should also acknowledge. Then the last point I want to refer to, on the 24th of February this year, the South African Parliament voted with 241 votes to 81 in favor of a motion that began a process of amending the Constitution to allow for expropriation without compensation. And many people saying, well, this does not refer to race. It is only an investigation now that needs to be done. Those people should go and read the motion. The motion starts off with an introduction that is clearly on racial grounds. It says in quite nicer words that whites have too much land, and that can't be. And it also says that the process should start to change the Constitution to allow for expropriation without compensation. So what the motion says is there's not going to be an investigation to if it's going to happen. It's merely an investigation on how it should be done and on how the Constitution should be changed. Then the last thing that Minister Sisulu said was to console people or to try and bring calm. She said, don't worry, this will be done according to the Constitution. Normally that would sound nice. Okay, the Constitution is going to be used, so brilliant, there's no problem. But what should be said is there's now a process to change the Constitution. So if the Constitution is changed to allow for expropriation without compensation, it doesn't make it better. A Constitution can never legitimize something that is inherently wrong. I don't think we should be calmed about that, because the Constitution is going to be used as a vehicle to do something that we saw what the results are. If you look in Zimbabwe, there's a 90% unemployment rate at the moment. Expropriation without compensation of property would in the end not only mean land, because the Constitution protects property broadly. So if you're going to allow for the expropriation of property, it will have a much broader impact. You will have international investors being afraid to bring their money here. We need those investments, so we're not asking for disinvestment. We are actually fighting to make sure that people would want to invest in South Africa because they know that property rights are secure. We don't want to go down the Zimbabwe route, and that is why we are saying we've been blamed as being treasonous for going to the international community. It is not treasonous, it's a deed of patriotism to tell the international community to warn South Africa. What we believe is treasonous is if you are willing to sacrifice the economy of this country by a policy such as this.